In this session, I'm going to show how to parameterize a web recording after we've recorded with a ZebraTester. As you can see, I have a session recorded in ZebraTester in the GUI here, going from our landing page to a user login and then proceeding to a logout. And what I'm going to use as an example today is a site that I enjoy browsing for motorcycle gear and equipment, revzilla.com, and also Anthony, the founder, made some great YouTube videos himself as well, so using that as inspiration for today. So after we've done our recording, and I recommend you checking out my previous video about how to do a ZebraTester recording, I'm going to stop the recording, make sure that the red light is not blinking anymore, making sure that the plugin is stopped, and then I'm going to filter out all of the information that I don't need. I'm going to come right here to our hosts area, and I'm going to filter out all of these third-party and marketing content sources. You can see that I'm just selecting the domain that I want to script against. I like doing a Control F if there's a lot in this list and looking for these yellow markers in Chrome of the resources that I might want to keep. So once that I have both of these selected, I'm going to make sure that I hit select. And then another one that I like is being able to turn off the images. As you can see, if I leave the images in, the pages are definitely lengthened. And especially on e-commerce sites, these sorts of images served from our content delivery network might change pretty often. So in terms of a script that's looking for the core site availability and functionality, I'm going to make sure to pull out these images, removed our cache data. Our recording was without cache data, and point to the host that I want, and then apply this filter. Next is I want to make sure that everything looks correct in the page breaks. If I want to add additional page breaks, I can click on the resource, click on page break, and set my page breaks. I can also set significant transactions, which are more useful when it comes to load testing. The next step, once I'm organized and filtered, I want to then make sure that I can replay this session dynamically. Now, I know that I'm sending in a login call, and you can see that call happening here in item 170. We can see this post and the path auth identity callback mode authorize. That's where I'm sending in my credentials. If I click on the URL details, you can see a few things here. You can see my registration email, my registration password. Then you can also see that we have a CSRF token being passed as well. Now, CSRF stands for Cross-Site Request Forgery, and this is a relative standard when it comes to securing a site's login, making sure that other users cannot forge their way into a user session. So at cursory glance, we have at least one item that we need to parameterize. What I like to start off with is the Var Finder, and that's this icon right here. This is going to open a window and comb the entire session for values for parameters that show up in the content that look like they are tokens that dynamically change between sessions. So here we can see it's flagged a few items, some CGI and form parameters. Here we can see that CSRF token showing up. A simplistic way to handle this parameter is using these V's. By clicking on this V, it's going to automatically create a parameter, CSRF token. It's going to find where it first is able to extract that token, and then it's going to assign it to where it's used in the request or requests. I'm going to undo my variable assignment, and I'm going to show you how to do this manually because not every time is it going to be as clean as this. So we recognize that we have a CSRF token that's going to change between sessions. So let's click on this magnifying glass and see where it occurs. This opens up our search overall. And this search overall can be accessed here from the main menu or anywhere that you see one of those magnifying glasses show. We can see that we first find this value in response content here. And then this value is going to be dynamically input into this post request here, which is the login that I had shown earlier. One way to manually extract the variable is right from the Search Overall menu. I can click on any one of these icons. It's going to recommend to me a boundary where I can extract and assign this variable. But let's go into this further. By clicking on item 151, it's going to take us to the URL where it first finds this value. We can see that this value is highlighted in red in the response content here. If I scroll all the way to the left, we can see on this line that this is a form, which is why up here above we have our response header and our response content organized in a form structure here. We can see there's a couple of items in this form. One, this auth identity callback path, and then the same path, and it looks like we're going to register a user. So this token is going to be used in either pathway for this, either the login authorize or when a new user is being registered. To extract this, here we have another one of these extraction icons. I'm going to click on this extraction, and it's going to open up a menu for me in my var handler. I'm going to select this form index. There's only one here. It's going to recommend a variable name for me. I'm not going to change it. And then we have a couple of options available here as checkboxes. Now you can read these, but a rule of thumb that I generally go by is our first checkbox is going to be a user-generated value. Our second checkbox is going to be a computer-generated value. So CSRF token, this is a computer-generated value. We'll click that second checkbox, hit extract, and then that second checkbox automatically assigns this to wherever else it sees it. And we can see that this CSRF token is assigned to 170 where it's found. I'm going to close some windows and come back to my Var Finder, and then make sure to refresh this page. And we can see that the variable that we just created, the CSRF token, has been extracted and then assigned. So we can go ahead and close out of this because it doesn't look like there's anything left for us to extract. Make sure to save your session, and then once you're saved, if you have the latest version of ZebraTester, you can instantly replay the recording here, or if this menu is not available for you, you can generate this load test and then replay it from the Project Navigator menu. I'm going to go ahead and just replay this recording. When I click replay, we can see that it's going to start the replay of our recorded session and then start to show all of the URLs that it begins to execute sequentially as pass or fail. Here we can see that we have all of our URLs passing, and it should submit a log summary to me of the results. Here we go. Here's our log summary. And just to show that we're actually dynamically inserting that CSRF value, I'm going to go open this post here. Expand this window, and then show this on the left is our recorded data. Here's our CSRF token with the value starting with JK4. And then we can see that this has been dynamically extracted and then input into this request because our CSRF token is submit as DDSRL. There's also some other metrics that I can see, like my transaction rate. I can display a full text log of the results to further debug if I'm not quite sure if I'm missing a value or not. Although I will say if it passes the first time, you likely have a successful script on your hands. That's all it is to parameterization. Sometimes it can become a bit more involved than others, like using the other options you may have seen in the var handler, like using inline scripts or input fields, but we can cover those in a future video. Thanks for watching.